In this video, I'm going to show you how to model exercise 3 problem C, which is a spur gear with a keyhole down the center. Here's your multi-view drawing, so you have a single section view. This is an aligned section view, so on this part of the view I'm cutting through the teeth, and on this part of this view I'm not cutting through the teeth, I'm cutting through the root of the teeth. We have detail view C, which shows the key slot, and detail view B, which shows the profile of the tooth itself. So in the notes I learned that there's 24 teeth on the gear and my units are in inches. So let's go into SOLIDWORKS and start this model. File open, file new, select a part, and here we go. So one of the things in part of model visualization is that you should recognize that this is a cylindrical object with some features on it. So the base of my model is going to be a revolve, and then I can use the extrude tool to cut the keyway and cut the teeth, and the circular pattern tool can be used to pattern the tooth. So I'm not going to draw every tooth one by one. I'm going to draw one and then I'm going to pattern it to get the rest of them. So let's go start on any plane, right plane, sketch, sketch. My first thing I do is I'm going to create a center line because I know I have an axis of revolution. So that center line is going to serve as my axis of revolution. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start sketching my profile here. And something that I want you to notice that just happened, and I did not mean for it to happen, is that this geometric constraint came in as this perpendicular. So it turns out that these lines actually are perpendicular because in the definition it's a 45-degree angle here and a 45-degree angle there. So the perpendicularity callout would be okay, but I don't want to actually add that because I want to manually type it in because that's how it's listed on my problem statement. Okay, you also might notice that I drew half of the profile because I'm recognizing that this part is symmetrical about a center plane there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to revolve half of it, then I'm going to mirror it. It just works out. It's easier to sketch a little bit like that. Let's put this over here so I can see it. Remember, if I'm doing a revolve, I can click between a solid line and a center line, and if I drag my mouse below the center line it doubles and I can input the diameter directly, which is 6. Which is a pretty neat tool when you're using revolves. So type in my diameters here. This line I'm going to drag this above so that I can go like this, and this is a 1. I'm going to make this line and my origin coincident to make that fully defined. Now I can start defining these things. So the total width of the part from here to here is let's say 1.25 divided by 2. So the total width divided by 2 because I only drew half of it. Let's make this line and this line collinear to make those two equal, and then from here to my center point is the total thickness is 1 inch, so let's go 1 divided by 2 because that's super complex math that I don't want to do in my head. Okay, we got our complete profile here. We're ready to revolve boss base. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to use the mirror tool. Let's go mirror. I'm going to use this as my mirror plane, and I'm going to say bodies to mirror this, and so you can kind of see a nice preview. And there is my raw profile of my gear. Now, let's go in and, so on this problem, I forgot to call out the chamfer. You can kind of see visually there that there should be a chamfer right there. You see it in the in view as well as the side profile view. So I'm going to add in a chamfer just to do it. I could have done this in the sketch, but it's just as easy to do it in the feature. There's my chamfer. I just made up a number. I said 50 thou chamfer since it wasn't given in the problem statement. So now I'm going to sketch on that front plane. I'm going to sketch a rectangle. I'm going make the origin and the bottom of my rectangle at the midpoint. And I'm going to define this from here to here as 0.625. And the width of this is 250. Yes, quarter inch. There's my profile. Then I can go to Features, Extrude Cut, go all the way through the part. So let's go through all, hit the check. Okay, so I got my keyway done. So the last step on this project is that you have to draw the teeth. And so the OD of my part, the outside diameter, is indicated at 6 inches down here. So I basically drew the outer profile. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the tooth just how I would in manufacturing. So I'm going to remove material for the tooth. So that's going to be a cut extrude. To remove one tooth, creating the profile on either side, and then I'm going to pattern that cut extrude around. So let's do that. I'm going to sketch on my front plane, which straddles the center line of my part. Sketch, sketch. And I'm going to convert entities on this outside diameter, bringing that outside diameter into my sketch plane. Now I'm going to draw a secondary circle because the root of the tooth is actually an arc. And that root of that circle is 5.25. So that's the bottom. And I'm going to draw a center line up from here. Let's go up to the top. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a 3-point arc. And so this gives you a little instructions here on how to draw this. 1, 2, 3. So I'm just going to come up here, I'm going to snap to there, I'm going to go up to there, and then I'm going to bring a little arc over like that. And now I'm going to define this arc. So I'm going to go from here to here is 0.225 divided by 2, and from here to there is 0.515 divided by 2, and the arc radii is 0.750. So that fully defines that. And then I can come in here and I could trim, so I use the power trim to get just that surface, right? So now if I use the mirror tool in my sketch, so I'm mirroring entities. Entities I want to mirror is 1, 2, 3. I'm going to copy those features, or copy those lines. I'm going to mirror about this line right here. Hit the check. Everything is fully defined. Happy. And now I can go Features, Extrude Cut. Let's go through all both, which brings it through both sides, and hit the check. One thing I need to do now is you notice on the problem statement there's this little tiny radius called out here. So it's 2 times a 30 thou radius. So let's go fillet. Instead of, let's do 30 thou, and then I can click these two edges to show those. Check. Now, linear pattern, circular pattern is right underneath that. So a circular pattern takes these features that I just created, so fillet 1 and cut extrude 2, and I'm going to pattern that 24 times, equally spaced on 360 degrees. So direction 1, if I just select this diameter, it'll pick up the center axis of that diameter, and that's my axis of revolution. I click check, and I am done with this assignment. Thanks for watching.